Tell us what's on your mind, Jason.
Well, Miguel, Keisha, and I are organizing a group on campus to protest the incinerator project.
On what platform?
Well, apart from the health risks in general, I want to focus on the idea that building this plant in the only real ethnically diverse community in Port Charles reeks of environmental racism.
Oh, yeah, environmental racism. That's like saying that the only reason they picked Charles Street to build the incinerator is because there's either poor, black, or Hispanic people living here. But they wouldn't even think of building it in a wealthy white neighborhood, right?
You learn fast, son.
For openers, we made these up on my computer this afternoon. We are going to saturate the campus with them.
And why are you interested in this? Is your summer that boring already?
I just happen to think it's unconscionable to displace a community and destroy a thriving neighborhood for no other reason except profit. And being a quartermain, I'm in the rather unique position of being able to command attention, whether that's good, bad, or indifferent. See, in this case, I want all that attention directed to the voices in opposition to this project.
Your granddaddy ain't gonna like it.
He does what he has to do, so do I.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, it takes guts to face old Edward every night across the dinner table when you're trying to cross him.
How soon do you think you can organize this rally?
Well, I was aiming for yesterday, but we just want to be up and running before ELQ can pull in enough favors to ram this thing through the approval process.
Excuse me?
Hello, Councilman Blake here.
Yes?
I was hoping to speak to Mrs. Spencer. We seem to have a matter of mutual interest between us. I apologize for the intrusion.
Oh, well, actually, I could have used some advance notice. We're already entertaining guests.
Then I'll get right to the point. I saw your interview in the evening news, Mrs. Spencer. Though it was compelling, I think you're being hasty in forming such a negative opinion of the incinerator project.
I see. And you're here to change my mind?
Well, you seem like a fair, reasonable, open-minded woman. I would like you to maintain that posture and consider the very real benefits this project will provide for our community. It would be a shame for the neighborhood to lose the jobs and the city the tax revenues because of groundless fears.
Now, when they ask you when she went off, remember groundless fears.
This is gonna be good.
Groundless? Excuse me? My fears are very much rooted in reality. You know, you incinerator people, you keep spouting platitudes about jobs and tax revenues that are going to benefit the community. But the reality is you're destroying it. When you tear down buildings, where do people live? Where are those people going to go, Councilman? Or are you going to figuratively incinerate them, too?
You're missing the forest for the trees, Mrs. Spencer.
No, I'm afraid you're the one lost in the bushes, Blake. Believe it or not, I used to be mayor of this burg. I know how the political machine operates. The people always take a second seat to the cash flow. And that's exactly what this incinerator business is about. Now, I'm sorry that you can't stay longer.
Will you at least think about what I said?
I have. Good night.
Come on. Move along.
Oh, way to go, you guys. Make a great team.
And he gets into about $40,000 worth of automobile. How much are we paying our civil servants these days, I wonder?
So how shall we play this? Should it be just you, or should you bring the committee?
Well, the initial response on campus was really good, but I think maybe in Mrs. Ward's sitting room, I should come alone. Keisha will be there, right?
Right, and Justice and Luke and you and me and May, of course.
Great. That ought to cover it.
Okay, terrific. I'll see you then.
You bet. How long you been standing there?
Long enough. Jason, I can't believe you're doing this.
Believe it.
Listen to me. I am really trying hard to see your point of view. But I hate the fact that you're pitting yourself against the whole family here.
Look, I don't get enjoyment out of opposing my family in public. But I'm doing what I have to do to be able to live with myself.
You realize that this is going to put you and I at opposite sides in a very serious way. I don't know about you. I'm having a little problem with that.
Well, it's called growing up, AJ. It's bound to happen sooner or later.
Over this?
You see? You see, that's exactly what I'm talking about right there. That's what I'm fighting against. This prevailing attitude around here that all these people are getting needlessly worked up over something as insignificant and harmless as a toxic waste incinerator dumped smack in the middle of their neighborhood. Don't you have a stab of conscience about what you're doing to the residents
Now, wait a
of that
second.
community?
You stop your self-righteous act with me, little brother. So what? So a couple people have to relocate. So what? It's not like we stole this land from these people. We paid them top dollar.
Oh, yeah, and that makes it all right? What, you wave enough money around that excuses anything? What happened to right and wrong, AJ?
Hey, let me ask you something. When did you become so politically correct? Don't answer that. Right about the same time Keisha Ward moved to town.
Oh, now what the hell is that supposed
You
to mean?
fill in the blanks. But I'll tell you this. I bet this bleeding heart whining about social injustice, I bet that plays real well in certain circles.
What is going on between you two? I could hear you all the way down the hall.
So you're telling me Lois is...
That's right.
Yeah, and it seems their first order of business is creating an active campaign to undermine the credibility of Councilman Blake.
Look, if he took money in exchange for his support on the incinerator project, he has no credibility. And people deserve to know that.
This is a fairly serious charge. Do you have any basis for this accusation?
No, of course he doesn't. He's being swept away by wild emotionalism in all its various hues and colors.
That's really a punk thing to say, AJ.
Yeah, well, I call him like I see
Can
him.
we not get into another argument here? Jason, you never answered my question. On what are you basing this charge against Blake?
Well, for starters, how about the fact that he was huddled with grandfather the other night?
That was probably a perfectly innocent conversation.
Bull. I've never once seen Blake in this house. Now, all of a sudden, the incinerator project gets a go-ahead from ELQ. They got their heads together like old buddies.
Let me tell you something. I happen to be very close to the inner workings of this project. I know the players, I know the plans, and I can assure you that this judgment you are making against the councilman has absolutely no foundation whatsoever.
Forgive me if I'm not reassured.
Jason, I'd be very careful before I made allegations about some people when I had nothing to back it up.
If there's nothing to back it up, there's nothing to worry about, is there? I have some work to do, excuse me.
This isn't good.
No, it isn't. What do you know about this Blake? What kind of man is he?
The guy's a weasel, and what's worse, Catherine, is he won't stand up under intense scrutiny. And that's all we need everybody to know, that ELQ paid off a councilman.
You're right. This could be potentially very damaging. But don't despair. It's not too late to contain it.
What do you have in mind?
Edward needs to know about this. You take care of that, and I'll try to head Laura off.
Yeah, good luck. I hear she's as bullheaded as her husband is.
Oh, well. There are many ways to skin a cat. See you later.
No, serious. Really?
Well, I'm glad you two found something to laugh about.
Oh, AJ, don't lose your sense of humor.
Well, see, I don't think this is funny, Mom. I've worked long and hard for the family business. Well, my brother acts like he couldn't care less how the money he spends is made. Until he decides to suddenly get up on a soapbox and tell the world how I'm greedy and shallow and a racist.
I never said those things about you.
What is this, like a power trip for you? Taking on grandfather and Ned and the whole thing? What makes you think that you know any more about this than the rest of us?
AJ, there is no point to this.
I'm doing what I think is
And
right.
so am I!
I guess that's what bothers me so much.
How the hell did I become the bad guy?
Don't be mad at your brother because he has a conscience.
What is that implying, that I don't? Okay, fine, let me ask you something, Mom, about your conscience. Are you willing to give up your profits in ELQ because you don't want to get your hands dirty?
I don't have any power.
Oh, that is a lame excuse. Now, what do you want to do? You want to lay this all off on Catherine? That way you can reap the benefits without any of the guilt.
Since when do you speak to your mother this way?
Since my mother started taking my brother's side against me.
Will you stop it, AJ? We're divided enough in this family. We don't need any more problems.
Great.
Hello.